Alright, guys, what's going on? This is Ben Hersick back with episode number 14 of the Armchair, Armdrager podcast. This week it's prediction heavy. We have NXT Takeover Toronto on Saturday, and we have SummerSlam on Sunday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch SummerSlam live because of a work-related thing that I have to go do. So, for our coverage on that, hopefully Josh will be up to do it on All Things Combat. But this week's going to be prediction heavy. We got Toronto predictions, SummerSlam predictions. A little bit of G1 will start us off, but as always, before I get too far, this is the Twitter deal I have to do for every week. You can follow myself on Twitter at Chiro Solider. You can follow this podcast at Podcast Armchair. You can follow All Things Combat, which is a website I write for where we cover professional wrestling, boxing, and MMA over at Things Combat. And also, I am the sports editor for the Cauldron at Cleveland State, and you can follow us. You can follow that on Twitter at CSU Cauldron to keep up with all the news and information and articles that we post this year. So, Twitter mentions and stuff out of the way. Real quick G1 catch up. It's two guys left alive in A block. It's Kota Ibushi and Kazuchika Okada, and there's four guys left alive in B block. It is Hiroki Goto, Jon Moxley, Tetsuya Naito, and Jay White. Everybody else is mathematically eliminated and cannot win the block. I do like how they were trying to figure out yesterday how if Evil would be alive or not, depending on if he won or lost against Okada. Pretty much what happened was they figured out he would have to win to stay alive because he was at 8 points going into the match. If he had beaten Okada, he would be at 10. And then he would have to hope for a double count out between Okada and Ibushi for them to stay at 12, and he would have to beat Lance Archer on the final day. That was actually really nice to see hear Kevin Kelly and Rocky Romero trying to figure it out live, which is what I do half the time when I'm sitting in my own home trying to figure out who's mathematically alive and who's mathematically eliminated in these types of tournaments. So those guys, it ended up Okada would win the match, and now it's between him and Ibushi. It's probably gonna be Ibushi getting to the finals again. I feel like that's a safe pick. I don't think they want Okada to win the tournament when he's champion. Because to be fair, he never has when he's been champion. And B Block's a little more complicated. Goto has the tiebreaker over Moxley and Jay White, but he lost to Naito, so he doesn't have the tiebreaker over him. Naito has the tiebreaker over Goto, but not Moxley since he lost to him, and he faces Jay White on the final day. Jay White has the tiebreaker over Moxley, but not Goto, and he still has to face Naito. And Jon Moxley has the tiebreaker over Naito, but not the tiebreaker over White or Goto. What Moxley needs to happen, he needs to beat Juice Robinson and have Naito beat White, and have Goto lose to whoever the hell Goto's facing on the final day. Let me see really quick, because I have it right here. He would need Goto to lose to Shingo Takagi. For Goto to win the block, he would need Moxley to lose, which would be really helpful. He would need to beat Shingo, and he would need Jay White to beat Naito, so that way Goto wins the block. Because Jay White is not mathematically eliminated. He needs Goto to lose. He needs Moxley to lose. He just needs Goto to lose. And he needs to beat Naito. For Naito, it's easier if Moxley loses. He needs Moxley to lose regardless. It would be easier if Goto lost. No, Naito has the tiebreaker. So he just needs Moxley to lose for sure, and then he needs to beat Jay White. Now, so far, both guys who I said would win the blocks are still mathematically alive going into the final days of their blocks. I said Ibushi, and I said Naito. I still think that's going to be the final. I would not be surprised at all if Jay White is in the final instead, simply because of face-heel dynamic. That was still the toughest one for me to pick. I'm also curious what the card is going to look like, because I have So this whole thing, I've been tweeting out my picks, and I've been like going off of a projected card I had because I wrote them down before the cards themselves were announced. They announced the matches. They didn't announce the order. I'm curious how close I got to the final day of the thing. Actually, I can look that up really quick. But yeah, so we're down to 4 plus 2 is 6. We're down to 6 people in the left alive in the the G1. I was gonna say the G block. It's surprising Goto's still alive, simply because of the fact that he had no momentum going into this tournament at first, and then he had worked with the what's the name, Shibata, to get ready for the tournament. So I'm actually trying to stall here. Okay, wait, they do have the match order up now. Let's look here. Evil Lance Archer starts us off. I got that right. Fale versus Sonata. Saber Kenta. Ospreay Tanahashi. I got the match card for the final night of A block completely right. I had Archer versus Evil to start off the block action. I had Fale Sonata, Kenta Saber Jr., Ospreay Tanahashi, and then Okada Ibushi. And I doubt that they have the August 11th card set up yet. 3, 4. Nope, it's just listed in some sort of order. I don't know how they figured this out. So that is the G1 catch up. 6 guys left alive. My 2 picks are still alive, and I'm still saying right now Naito is winning the tournament. I have nothing to back this up, but I think Naito is winning the tournament. Is he going to be a dual champion? I don't think so. I think maybe who's beating him in the G1? Moxley beat him. Moxley's probably not going to get a title shot as U.S. champ. Yano beat him. Yano's probably not getting a match. Taichi? No. Maybe he will be. I just don't think they want Naito to be double champion. I wouldn't be mad if Naito was IWGP Heavyweight Champion and Intercontinental Champion at the same time, but I don't think they want to do that. So, is it safer to have Ibushi win? Because he doesn't have a title right now? Yes. Ibushi's also lost to Tanahashi. No, he beat Tanahashi. He lost to Kenta, Evil, and that's it. Typically, you see like 3 briefcase defenses. Maybe somebody lays a claim to deserving a shot against Kenta. Or against Ibushi. But I don't know. That's all for future figuring out. And that was World Quest. They have 4 events before Wrestle Kingdom. So we'll see how that all works out. But on to what the whole episode is pretty much going to be about. Takeover Toronto is on Saturday and SummerSlam is on Sunday. I've said this like twice now, so hopefully you should already know when the day is for these shows. We have 5 matches on Toronto. Right now we have 10 matches on SummerSlam. Put a little asterisk by that because we could get a couple more announced. We'll start with Toronto. Takeover Toronto. 5 match card. I'm going to pull them up so that way I know the exact matches, so I don't have to like try and remember them on the top of my head. So let's start with the only non-championship match on Takeover. The surprising match to me, because at first it was rumored it was going to be Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane, but I'm more curious about that one as how it's going to work because they have a long time until Takeover War Games in November. So they have all of September, second half of August. They have September, October, and the first half of November. They have roughly 3 months to fill NXT TV. So we'll see how that all works out. There's going to be at least maybe 3 or 4 tapings. Thinking about it like number-wise, that kind of adds up. I think that works. So at the singles match is a surprise to me. I didn't think they would ever do this. I know Hunter loves women's wrestling and thinks it should be a focal point. And to be fair, for the most part, it is in NXT. Main roster, not that much. But we have Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae. I never thought we were going to see 2 women's matches on the TakeOver. Yet here we are. The little background behind this that I know, Shirai had a women's championship match on NXT TV against Shayna Baszler in a steel cage. They that ended with Baszler winning. I remember that much. I don't know if it was escape or pinfall or submission. I don't remember which one. But after the match, Shirai turned on LeRae, and now Io Shirai is the biggest, baddest Japanese heel in WWE. Sorry, Shinsuke. So, I'm curious as to what direction they want to go. I think people also agree Shirai doesn't have long in NXT. She's not going to be there for a long time. She's more than ready to be on the main roster. But they do need bodies, and Io Shirai has good hands. And after my prediction for the Women's Championship match, which happens to be the next one listed on the Wikipedia page, they have a distinct lack of legitimate challengers for the NXT Women's Championship. And you need a big bad heel. I guess that kind of spoils who I'm picking in the Women's Championship match. But you need a big bad heel. But I don't want Shirai to get a championship match again right away. Maybe wait till Takeover Houston for the Rumble. Maybe Takeover Tampa Bay. I don't really know exactly which one would make more sense to me. So, you think about it, it's got to be... They have to build Shirai up again because she's kind of like... not fallen off the map, but taken a bit of a back step. And now it's a new character. They need to develop it. It would make more sense for Shirai to win. And I'm not mad Candice LeRae's on a TakeOver card. I'm happy to see Candice LeRae on a TakeOver card. I just feel like this is the most obvious match of the weekend. I say that, and yet I have like 3 matches on SummerSlam that are like super predictable to me. But this one is the one I feel the most safe about. I know they like LeRae. They want LeRae to be a big deal. But she's been featured semi-frequently on NXT TV, if I remember right. She's been more around Johnny Gargano during the whole Ciampa feud when Gargano won the title finally. She's been more dealing with her husband on TV. If her husband, like I'm predicting, is getting called up after Takeover and after SummerSlam, then they need to start focusing on LeRae and building her up. Maybe Baszler retains. Maybe they want Candice LeRae to be the next challenger, but then you damage Io Shirai even more. That would be her 3rd big loss on a big match fourth straight, I believe. She lost at Evolution to Toni Storm. She lost to Shayna Baszler at TakeOver 25. And she lost to Baszler in the steel cage match. This will be her 4th big loss on a big stage. So I'm taking Io Shirai simply because I think they want to build up a big heel. Because, and this leads into the next one, I think Shayna Baszler is getting the call up, which means we finally have a new NXT Women's Champion. And I've been saying this a lot, and I'm a big fan of Mia Yim, don't get me wrong. I think Mia Yim is phenomenal in the ring. But she kind of has been a little quiet. Well, that's not the right term. She had to build up to deserving a match against Shayna Baszler. And she did it by her actions in the ring, and then now that we're getting the match, she's the one with the smartest strategy. She took out the other 2 4 horsewomen. I don't even want to think about Ronda Rousey right now. She took out the other 2 4 horsewomen. She took out Shafir and Duke. And now we have just Yim versus Baszler. And I think in a straight-up singles match, it's a little more even than people think it would be. A lot of people who I'm in a predictions league with are taking Baszler. I say Baszler's getting the call up because of how weak the Raw women's division is. I've said this before. On the entire roster, the only person I could legitimately see taking the title off of Becky Lynch is Sasha Banks. And Sasha, as of this very second, is still not at working matches for WWE. She's not on the house show loop. She's not on the SummerSlam card. This very second that I'm recording this at 9:45 on Thursday morning, Sasha Banks is not featured in any plans. So right now it's Becky Lynch's division and everybody else is just kind of there. plus with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross now winning the tag team titles, we're kind of in a weird, there's no real legit challenger right now. Naomi could get a shot, but with Becky as over as a face, you'd want it to be a heel, which is why Natalya is being a bit of a heel. Shayna Baszler makes the most sense to me. She fits perfectly in the Raw Women's division. She fills that void Ronda Rousey left, and I hope to God Ronda Rousey stays away. But it's a tough match to call. Like, I've felt confident in Baszler getting called up since Takeover New York. After the Fatal 4-Way, I thought she would get called up. She didn't. Before Takeover 25, I thought this is it. She's got to get called up. She's still in NXT. Now I'm saying this for the fourth time. This is the time Shayna Baszler is getting called up. I hope this is the time I'm right, because after she beats Mia Yim, she's beaten every single other person on the NXT women's roster. And I think it's time for a change at the top. I'm just curious. I'm also curious as to why she's still in NXT when she has proven she is ready for the main roster. It's a weird situation. I do think Yim is the perfect person to take the title off of her. But I've been wrong on Shayna Baszler matches since the beginning of the year. So we'll see. I'm more curious as to if Yim wins, who would be her first challenger? Easy answer, Io Shirai. Problem, if that happens, I feel like Yim's only a transitional champion. To be fair, like I said, Yim is more than capable of being a great champion. And I don't think she's long for NXT either. But it's just really tough to me to think, like, there's Bianca Belair that could make sense. She's been mouthing off of Vanessa Bourne and Allie recently. Well, not mouthing off. She's been talking trash to them on social media. So that could be 3. And that would get us to Takeover Tampa Bay. So it could work. I don't know. We'd have to wait and see on that one. But I say right now, Yim is going to be the champion at the end of the show. And there's a spoiler in there, but I'm not going to say what it is yet. So far I got LeRae and Yim. Now comes the really hard part. These next 3 are really hard to predict because one of the claims for Undisputed Era this year was they're winning all the gold in NXT. It starts with the NXT North American Championship triple threat between the champion Velveteen Dream, Roderick Strong, and Pete Dunne. Now, I say this, and this is going to be in the article on All Things Combat for predictions. I feel like Roddy's in there to take the pin. I love Roderick Strong. He's a fantastic wrestler. I just feel like he's there to take the pin. Now the question is to who? I've said this before too. Pete Dunne is more than ready. Pete Dunne is so ready to be on the main roster. I don't see why he's still in NXT. He is a capable wrestler who has more than proven that he should be on the main roster. So I feel like it's safe to take Dream. And I feel like they want him to lose to a big heel. It could be Damian Priest. It could be Dominic Djokovic when he returns. That's a long way away. He could easily lose it to he could easily just play a heel and lose it to Kushida. So it's a tough call really right now. I'm taking Dream. But I've seen a lot of people try, and like I've been reading like through Twitter and on the prediction league I'm in, a lot of people are taking Roderick Strong. And I'm like, he's been the worst looking guy going into the feud. Or going into the match, excuse me. And typical WWE booking tells you, okay, the guy that looks worse than the other guy, or who has no momentum going into the show, usually wins. NXT has told me to think about it logically. Like, which one makes sense? Dream makes sense to me. Partly because I don't want him to go to the main roster yet. A lot of these predictions are based on like who I think is ready to go to the main roster. Answer is 95% of NXT is ready to be on the main roster. But it's really tough because it's like you have 3 incredibly talented wrestlers. Like I said, I'm taking Strong, right? I'm not taking Strong. I'm taking Dream. I'm taking Dream simply because I think he can still do a little more in NXT. I mean, even if you can have him lose it at a taping and then win a match to determine the number one contender for the NXT Championship. And he has history with both Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. So you could play it up like that, and there's your challenger for War Games for the second year in a row. Dream would challenge for the title at War Games. Still wouldn't main event because of the War Games match, but it would be Dream challenging for the NXT title again. Because I said, and he's not on the card. I feel like they're building the NXT title to be put on Matt Riddle at some point. And right now, the perfect guy is champion for it. It could change, and they could prove me wrong. But I also remember reading Matt Riddle's going to be in NXT for quite a while. So maybe Matt Riddle gets a long title reign here soon. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm taking Dream right here simply because I don't know. That's the reason I'm taking Dream. Dream feels like a safe pick. I can't see him taking the pinfall loss yet either. He's been so good as North American champion. He's been so good since his feud with Aleister Black. Going on 2 years in NXT now, he's been one of the best parts. I'm more curious to see how much more he can grow. And that's what I think we're going to see in this match. Even more growth from Dream. He's in there with two guys who are in indie darlings. And he's just Patty Clark from Tough Enough, who wasn't tough enough on the show, but now is proving he's actually that damn good. So, we'll see how that works. I'm more... This is maybe the match on TakeOver I'm the most cautious about because of the fact that there's a real unpredictable element in there. And they've never really booked Rowdy to look like a big single superstar. So it's a tough call for me. I'm sticking with my gut, and I'm saying Dream. But I really don't know. Now, the NXT Tag Team Championship match. It's a really tough one, too. Because my fear is that they're making... If they do go with the Undisputed Era holds all the gold, that makes the Street Profits just transitional champions. And with them showing up on Monday Night Raw and backstage bits where they're not being called up, but they're being like a thing, and like the main roster fans are seeing them and like, oh, these guys are really funny. But are they good? Maybe I should check out NXT for that. If you're like watching it like that, and they've been having a lot of fun on Raw, and they've been really good on Raw, it would make more sense to me to keep the titles on them. And I don't want the Street Profits to be transitional champions, partly because the NXT Tag Team division is so small as it is. There's so little talent. Well, not little talent. There's so few teams. You have Undisputed Era, Street Profits, Forgotten Sons. Now you have Breezango. So there's 4 right there. Lorcan and Birch. That's 5. Team 3.0, or whatever they're called now, because I think they got their name changed too, because Team 3.0 is kind of a okay name, but it could have been better, to be fair. You could easily put 2 of the Australian guys together. I believe it would be Bronson Reed and I'm going to say it's Verk, Brandon Verk or something like that. He was a former rugby player, so that's 7 teams. There's at least some teams there. Maybe put Isaiah... excuse me. I was going to say Isaiah Scott and get Shane Strickland. No, I was going to say Isaiah Strickland and get Isaiah Scott and Shane Strickland confused. They're the same guy. You could put Isaiah Scott and Jordan Miles together, maybe. Cameron Grimes and somebody, because it looks like he might be getting Stokely Hathaway as a manager, which would be really interesting. Stokely Hathaway and Trevor Lee together. That would be really fun to see. Maybe he gets somebody to team with. That'd be 8 teams. There's something there at least then. But right now there's like 4 teams. 5 teams, because I keep forgetting about Breezango, because they weren't in the ladder match at TakeOver 25. Eventually, I do think the Street Profits are going to lose the titles. Maybe take over Tampa Bay, again, like I keep saying. Maybe take over Houston to Breezango, because they're probably going to want to build up Breezango to be a thing. And then whoever Breezango drops the tag titles to, they become a big deal in tag team wrestling, because they just beat 2 guys who were on the main roster. One of the guys beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. So, I can see it, but I don't want And here's the thing, Red Dragon or Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, whatever the hell you want to call them, they're fantastic. My upset thing about this, though, they've not been given a chance to show what they can do in the singles division. I think it should be Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong challenging for the tag team titles, and O'Reilly put into the triple threat for the North American title. Because Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, and Velveteen Dream, that just smells like a good combination. That would be a fantastic match. There's a reason I'm not in charge of NXT, because I have too many good ideas. Sorry, Hunter. But in the tag team match, it's like I don't want the Street Profits to lose, but I don't want Undisputed Era to win. So it's like I'm taking Street Profits simply because this is the title that the Undisputed Era has held twice already. They could also stick it to the Revival and become 3-time tag team champions or something. I don't know. So it's really a tough call to me. I'm glad I'm the one that's not making it. But if I had to be, I would take Street Profits here. Simply because of the fact that they just won the titles. They're showing the titles on NXT on the WWE on Monday Night Raw. And you're getting to see a wider variety of wrestlers on Raw. And Street Profits have been really good backstage. And it might be gaining interest in NXT. So that's my thought. Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. 2 out of 3 falls. I've called this a 2 out of 3 falls customized match. So the first fall picked by Johnny Gargano is a street fight. And the second one... Oh no, stipulations are street fight chosen by Gargano and a singles match chosen by Cole. I think it's going to go singles match. Cole wins, street fight, Gargano wins. Third fall will be decided by William Regal if needed. And I've gone 2 ways on this, and I've seen people on Twitter, and this has got me thinking about it, and I could see it, but I don't think they want to do it just yet. They want to save Ciampa. The thing I've been seeing going around on Twitter is Regal comes out, the third fall is a triple threat featuring Ciampa. He costs Gargano, like he takes like Ciampa would take the last shot from Adam Cole, and he would be the one that gets pinned, and Cole retains. Like, he would cost Gargano indirectly, and then you set up Cole versus Ciampa. Is it Ciampa or Ciampa? Because I've heard both. I'm going to say Ciampa. You would set up Cole versus Ciampa at War Games, but it's like, do they really go that route? And because Ciampa just got cleared. He just got cleared. So do they want to put him in there right away, is my concern with that. I think it's more likely the last fall is going to be last man standing. Or even, maybe it's Hell in a Cell. And they make the Hell in a Cell black so you can't see it above the ring. I don't know. But I think it's a safer bet for it to be last man standing. Simply because I don't want Ciampa to be rushed straight back into the title picture. Have him come back on NXT TV, like at the taping next week or whatever. And then, start building him up. And then maybe at War Games we do get Cole versus Ciampa. And then you gotta think, okay, that's that one. Because in my mind right now, I have Cole retaining the title no matter what. Because Gargano's done everything in NXT. There's no reason for him to be down there anymore. He's going up. In my head, I'm saying, I like to think forward in wrestling. I like to think, okay, what's going to be after this? So say we get Cole versus Ciampa at Takeover Houston. Or Takeover War Games, excuse me. Then we have Takeover Houston and Takeover Tampa Bay. Takeover Tampa Bay, I think it's Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle wins, and Undisputed Era gets the call up there. But what about Houston? Who could challenge Cole at Houston? If I look at the NXT roster and I'm like, yes, there's talent there, but none of these guys seem like legitimate challengers to Adam Cole. At least at that point in time. At this point in time. There's still half a year to figure out that part. And I think Hunter has a thing where he's like, I know I want this set for it. So, God, it's like, part of me wishes I was a booker, part of me wishes I wasn't. Or part of me glad that I'm not. But I'm like, I mean, there's Kushida, there's there's the wrestlers in the Undisputed Era. There's freaking Velveteen Dream, Pete Dunne. There's so many talents. It's like Takeover Houston's still a ways away, but I like to think like that. Like, what could be the match there? And as it gets closer and closer, I'll be like, okay, this is probably going to be the match. It's tough. I'm taking Cole right now because Gargano shows up on SmackDown after SummerSlam, and maybe we get a tag team or something with Apollo Crews or Aleister Black or whatnot, and we make the tag team titles even more relevant on SmackDown. Not Bullet Club. The OC has done that on Raw for the Raw tag team division. Usos are probably not going to be on TV for a little while. Revival, who even knows anymore? So there's still questions, but it's like an okay question. Like, we have 3 top teams. If one's off TV because of the one being an idiot while driving, and the other just lost tag team titles, maybe we can start building up other teams or make new teams. Who knows? So there's that. My takeover predictions, because I'm trying to get to SummerSlam as fast as possible. I've already been talking for 31 minutes. So takeover Toronto predictions: Io Shirai, Mia Yim, Velveteen Dream, Street Profits, and Adam Cole. There's that. That's done. Now SummerSlam. As of this very second, at 10:02 a.m. on Thursday morning of August 8th, there are 10 matches. I've heard SummerSlam is going to be 5 hours long, the main card. How do you get 10 matches to 5 hours? Because some of them aren't going to be that long. Because Goldberg, Dolph Ziggler is not going to be long. I don't think Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt is going to be extremely long, maybe about the 10-minute mark. And I don't know how long Owens versus McMahon is going to be. I don't think it would go too long, but I've been wrong about this before. So you could still get matches added. There's still the SmackDown Tag Team titles. There's still the Raw Tag Team titles. The Intercontinental title. The Women's Tag Team titles. Maybe Iconics want a rematch or something. I don't know. I'm going to check WWE's Twitter really quick, see if any matches have been added in the last, half hour or so. WWE. There it is. One tweet in the last hour. Probably not, then. Let's see here. 205 Live stuff. Dance break. Bull crap. Backstage. Exclusive. Not too much, really. Just small stuff here and there, but not a lot. So, right now we have 10 matches. I'm thinking we get Roman Reigns could have a match, probably. I heard a rumored one, and I have 3 ideas in my head, too. The rumored one I heard was Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy. And I'll circle back to that and explain why I'm actually looking forward to that, if that's the match. There's also been rumored, or potentially we could see Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. We could see Roman Reigns versus Eric Rowan. Or we could see Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan team up against Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe. I wouldn't mind that. Because the idea they have right now is Daniel Bryan is a heel that other heels also hate. So, having Roman team with Joe, where it's a face and a heel working together to stop a heel and Daniel Bryan and Rowan, would be very interesting to me, at least. I could see them saving Bryan and Rowan for a smaller pay-per-view to boost up numbers, because those are 2 of the top guys. It could make sense. It could work like that. And I'd be totally fine with it if it is. And then there's Rowan versus Reigns. Wouldn't be too long, I think. Rowan would easily take the fall. But the rumored match is Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy. I would be excited for that for Buddy Murphy, because it wouldn't be a short match, I don't think. I would hope not. And they could showcase just how good Buddy is, and maybe we start to build to Buddy being used on TV. Also, I will say Buddy Murphy has the gnarliest teeth on the WWE roster. I don't know what you did to them, dude, but they might need braces, son. I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm not a dentist, so don't trust my word. But I would be excited to see Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns because, like I said, it gets to show Buddy can show what he can do. Roman would make him look really good. Like, Buddy Murphy needs to look good. Buddy Murphy is good. But Roman would make him look even better. And we could also, like I said, start to build to Buddy Murphy being used on TV. So, Roman would win, obviously. Unless, like, Bryan and Rowan got involved, distracted the referee, Buddy hits a low blow, and his finisher, which I don't even remember. I know it's called Murphy's Law. I think it's like a sit-out attitude adjustment, for lack of a better term, if I remember right. Or it's a pump handle, maybe. I think it's pump handle. Not sure. But, like, they could somehow distract the referee and Murphy could upset Roman. But I think right now, if Roman versus Murphy is happening at SummerSlam, then it would be safe to say Roman would win. So there's that one. That would make 11 matches. There's one more match I think that might be added. I'm not sure anymore after SmackDown. And that's the Intercontinental title, Shinsuke Nakamura defending against Ali. It would be a great match. Imagine if they give him 20 minutes and they move at the pace they did 2 weeks ago where they were just flying around the ring. That would be a really fun match. And I'm sure even though Nakamura's my brain says 39. But what does Wikipedia say? Where the Shinsuke Nux? Okay. I was going to say he's probably on the top. He is 39. Yeah. So imagine... I think at some point they want to get the Intercontinental title on Andrade. But I don't want Nakamura to be a transitional champion, and I don't want Ali to be a transitional champion. And I would like to get Buddy Murphy involved in that too, and Apollo Crews. So how can you get everybody to be happy? And I think somehow I feel like Shelton Benjamin's involved in the mid-card picture now. So I don't know what his story is. Like I put on Twitter during the live tweet I was doing for SmackDown on All Things Combat. I like to imagine that he sees a fly and he's like following it around the room with his eyes, like, oh, it's over there, it's over there, wait, no, it's over there, oh wait, it's over there now. Maybe, and I've said this for a long time, WrestleMania needs more traditions. A traditional ladder match for one of the mid-card titles would be nice. Maybe Intercontinental because there's a little more significance to an Intercontinental ladder match. Because of Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon at WrestleMania 10. But maybe you alternate which title it is. You don't want two, that'd be too many. And I don't want a multi-man ladder match. And like on Raw, you could have that with the US title with Ricochet, Bray Wyatt maybe, Cesaro, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles. Trying to think of one more. Crap. Brain work faster. Maybe those 6. And then on SmackDown Live, or SmackDown, you would have, like, Nakamura, Andrade, Apollo Crews, Ali, Finn Balor, Buddy Murphy, Shelton Benjamin. Did I say Apollo Crews already? I think I did. Nakamura, Andrade, Balor, Ali. Yeah, I did say Crews. So you'd have 7 people. That's nice. 8 would make it a nice even number. Maybe you drag, like, I don't know, Bryan into it. But I don't want Daniel Bryan in the ladder match because concussion issues in his brain. I don't want to worry about that. But those are the 2 matches I think you could see added. You could see Roman versus Murphy added. You could see Ali versus Nakamura for the Intercontinental title added. And if those 2 happen, my predictions are Roman Reigns and Shinsuke Nakamura. But also, let's get to the actual card that we have. 10 matches. Right now, nothing is on the pre-show. Put an asterisk next to that because the Cruiserweights will probably be on the pre-show. But the Cruiserweight title match is Drew Gulak defending against Oney Lorcan. I'm happy to see this because I really like Oney Lorcan and I really like Drew Gulak. So, we could see a little... It's like they're both independent, they're indie darlings. In like, I forgot what Oni's name was. It's like Buff something. I know it was BB. Like, first initial B, last initial B. What was his name? Biff Biscuit. I was right. I was like, is it Biscuit? But yeah, so it's Biff Biscuit versus Drew Gulak. And they're two well-known independent wrestlers, and now they're both in WWE as Oni Lorcan and, well, Drew Gulak, because that's his real name, I believe. Yes, it is. So, it's still really early in Gulak's reign. I don't think he's going to lose it for a long time. Rumor had it Brian will be going 205 Live. That still could be in play. We could see... I've been saying this, Mike Kanellis would have made a nice choice, but that would be if Tony Nese was still champion. And Humberto Carrillo really comes to mind. So, I feel like they want to build up Carrillo to be the person that does eventually take the title from Gulak. So, it's a tough call as to who would defeat Drew Gulak. I have Gulak winning here. Partly because I think he can still do a lot more as champion, and I'm enjoying his reign a lot. But also because, this may be a dumb one, Lorcan still shows up on NXT TV. And it'd be kind of weird to see NXT TV and then see the Cruiserweight champion. So it'd be like, wait, what? And it would kind of continue to break the barrier between main roster and NXT, which I wouldn't mind. But I don't want Gulak's reign to end after 2 months. I would like to continue seeing him as champion and having great matches. And that's what it's going to be for a little while, I think. Maybe till WrestleMania for all I know. Maybe he's the next long Cruiserweight champion. Like I said earlier, there is call-ups in mind. Gulak could work really well in the main roster. Probably on SmackDown, I would think more. And Tony Nese came to mind too. I could see him going on Raw. But they're both not as big names as Cedric Alexander, Ali, and Buddy Murphy were when they were in 205 Live. So those three were too big to stay on 205 Live. Gulak is going to be too big to stay on 205 Live of a name, not weight-wise. And Nese can get there. It's going to take a lot more, though. Maybe he joins the group of Enzo Amore and Neville as two-time Cruiserweight champions. Who knows? But Gulak retains. Singles match, Trish Stratus versus Charlotte Flair. I am so torn on this. I'm on one hand, I can see Charlotte beating Trish, but she made fun of Trish's family, and it's in Trish's hometown, and her family's going to be there at ringside, probably. So, I can see Trish winning because they're there, but I can also see Charlotte winning because rumor came out that just this match right here is Trish Stratus' last match. So it's her retirement match. And I could see her doing the right thing and losing her retirement match and going out on her back to the next generation of wrestlers. It's a lot like Ric Flair did eventually to Shawn Michaels. Michaels did it to Taker. Taker's done it to, Roman Reigns. That's about it. Which, it's retirement matches, you see them go on the back. Kurt Angle did it to Baron Corbin, surprisingly. I'm trying to remember every single retirement match in my head now. The only one that comes to mind that didn't is Gail Kim versus Tessa Blanchard. Or Kim won, I think. But anyway, if it's Trish's last match, Charlotte's winning, I think. At first I always said, it's Trish, and Charlotte's been talking all this crap, so Trish is going to win to avenge all the crap talking. But now that I think about it, this is Trish's last match. Charlotte's going to win. My thing is, I don't want Charlotte, after this win, to go right back to the SmackDown title scene. I want her to kind of stay in a weird, she's a great wrestler, but she's not in the title scene right now because Bayley is actually doing a really good job as SmackDown Women's Champion. And let Bayley continue to give people who don't usually get title shots, maybe next to Sonya Deville, or trying to run through the entire SmackDown Women's division in my head. Maybe Kairi Sane gets a shot. Maybe, who else is on the SmackDown Women's division? Mandy Rose, even though she got a shot at Fastlane. Maybe Asuka gets another shot, and we get Bayley Asuka on the main roster. we'll see, but I'm taking Charlotte Flair here simply because I think if it's Trish's last match, yeah, I can't say words ever. If it's Trish's last match, she'll go out on her back. So there's that one. Goldberg, Dolph Ziggler, I don't want to dwell on this one too long. It's a Goldberg match. It's 2019, and it's a Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler's in a match. Goldberg's going to win. Dolph is going to make him look great, I think. Because after Saudi Arabia, even though we don't talk about that show, I've heard the match was bad with Undertaker and Goldberg. Goldberg wants to kind of erase that from everybody's memory. And this is the show to do it at. And it's the person to do it with. So, Dolph's going to make him look fantastic. But Goldberg's winning. Because it's Goldberg against a guy who hasn't won a match in like 5 years. That's wrong. Like 2 years. So there's that. I want to get the rest of the singles matches out of the way before the big 5 matches of the show. At least the big 5, I think it would be. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, another easy one. Bray Wyatt's going to win because Balor is reportedly going on a vacation for 2 months, roughly, from what I remember hearing. So he'll be away for a little while. And you continue to build the Fiend that way. And Bray Wyatt looks dominant as a heel. I'm very curious because we've seen the little bits and pieces of it with him attacking Balor, Mick Foley, and Kurt Angle. So there's those 3. I'm still very curious how the character will actually translate to a full wrestling match. And at SummerSlam, it's going to be interesting to see it. I'm curious about it. So I'm going to go in optimistically and try and enjoy the match. And I probably will, because I like Bray Wyatt. I like Finn Balor. Perfect combination. Let's see, what else is there? Kevin Owens, man. Kevin Owens is winning. I know the stipulation is if Kevin Owens loses, he's no longer, he quits WWE. Owens signed a 5-year deal like a year ago. He's got 4 years left. Why would he leave it on a 4-year deal? It's probably a lot of money. He's probably really happy. He's gonna be a big time player. I will say this: I think he's going to be one of the big 3, face wise, with him, Kofi, and Randy Orton. Him, Kofi, and Roman Reigns. Excuse me. I was like, wait, did I say the right person? And Shane's gonna be going off TV finally. So Owens is winning. Yay! Happy days. No more Shane McMahon on TV. Yay, we can all get behind that. So that's the singles matches out of the way. Now for 3 of the 5 final matches where I have no freaking clue. Let's start with the United States title, AJ Styles versus Ricochet. This is the one where I don't think I know, but I feel the most confident in. AJ Styles just won the US title. So it'd be kind of weird because Samoa Joe was a transitional champion to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio did get hurt, so he was a transitional champion back to Joe. Joe was then another transitional champion to Ricochet, and now Ricochet's been a transitional champion to AJ Styles. Is AJ Styles a transitional champion to go back to Ricochet? Or is he going to be a long reigning champion? I think he's going to be a longer reigning champion. And they're so high on Ricochet, and Ricochet could eventually be the one to take the title from AJ Styles. But as of this very second, I'm taking AJ Styles simply because of the fact that he's recently won the title. I don't think he's going to drop it just yet. He's too big of a name, I think, to be a transitional champion. So that's my reasoning behind taking AJ Styles to retain. The question is, who else can he really face? Rey Mysterio comes to mind. If they did turn Samoa Joe face on Raw this week, Samoa Joe comes to mind. Who else is like a mid-card face on Raw? Here's the thing, they have all this talent, but you don't see half of them. So that's the 3 I can think of. Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, and if he's a mid-card face now, Samoa Joe. And there's a big asterisk as a if. I mean, because if I was a heel and I was feuding with somebody and they got hit by a car, I'd want to go check on them. So that would be the United States title picture, or the United States Championship match out of the way. I'm going to do the next two matches are going to be the women's matches because I feel confident in those ones. Bailey versus Ember Moon. I enjoy Ember Moon. I think she's a great wrestler. I think Bailey's a great wrestler. I'm excited for the match. I hope they give it time simply because I want to see just what these two can do together. And my big thing is, I know reports came out that Vince is not high on Ember Moon. He's not as high as all of us are on her. But I think Hunter's in his ear about her because of the fact that she is getting the shot, first of all. Second of all, I think it's because eventually Vince does see talent and he sees Ember's good, but he doesn't know if she's on the level that he likes yet. Maybe that's just like a motivational way for Vince to push Ember Moon or something, but I also say I want Bailey to have a long reign as SmackDown Women's Champion and continue to give opportunities to women you don't see always in the title picture on SmackDown. Usually it was Charlotte Flair, and that was it. But now, like, you have Bailey on the show who can give shots to, like, Ember Moon, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Kairi Sane, Asuka. If they want to have a singles title match, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Liv Morgan, possibly. I'm curious what her new gimmick is. She's, like, tweeting out, "Can I bite you?" My first concern is that she's a vampire now. I don't want a vampire Liv Morgan, but it'll be something for Liv Morgan to do, so. But Bailey's thing is she's going to make everybody look good. And I feel like that's what she's going to become eventually in her career. Maybe not soon, but like later in her career, maybe after like 3 or 4 more title reigns, because I don't think she's done after just one title reign for Raw and SmackDown as Women's Champion. Maybe like after 3 or 4 more reigns, she becomes like that safe pair of hands. And then maybe she wins another title or two along the way, but I don't think she's going to be on the level as Charlotte or Trish. As like, well, she has 2 right now, and you add 3 or 4. She would be 1 or 2 short of Trish. Who knows how many Charlotte's going to win. But I want Bailey to look good and make everybody else look good. And that's what she's going to do on this show. She's going to make Ember look phenomenal. And maybe all Ember needs is a partner. Maybe she just needs a friend. Maybe it becomes Bailey. Who knows? I almost forgot about Carmella because she's so busy with Truth. I forgot what show she was on. Maybe Carmella gets a shot at Hell in a Cell or something. I don't know. Carmella and Bailey fighting each other even though they're like best friends backstage. Yeah. It's a weird thing where like the SmackDown's women division is so stacked and the Raw one is so depleted. And then you could say the same for the tag team division, but the tag team division across the board is depleted. Partly because Jeff Hardy's out with his... Oh god, what he broke now? Something in his leg. I think it was something in his knee. And then you have the whole women's tag division, which is questionable right now. But we'll cover that maybe in another week or 2. 2 weeks, because next week will be a review of everything. Hopefully I'll have time to actually watch everything. So we get to the Raw women's match. Becky Lynch versus Natalya for the Raw women's title in a submission match. A lot of people have been saying Ronda Rousey. Let's check Ronda Rousey's Twitter feed recently, because I don't like Ronda Rousey. I've made it no secret that I don't like Ronda Rousey. So I don't usually check out Ronda Rousey's Twitter. I forgot the N in her name. I don't even know how to spell her name. Ronda Rousey. Let's look here. She tweeted about Shayna Baszler, her mom. Nothing about Toronto. Complaining about tables. Bully Ray. Wait, is she actually making a movie called Tables? Wait, is she actually making a movie about tables? I don't care. She's not been tweeting anything about WWE, or she's retweeted an article about Shayna Baszler because her and Shayna Baszler are friends. That's pretty much about it. So I don't think everyone's saying Ronda Rousey's getting involved. I don't see Ronda Rousey showing up at all. I don't want Ronda Rousey anywhere near WWE product for at least another year because I've been enjoying it without her there. Are they missing star power? Yes. Partly because Sasha Banks is sitting on her ass. Or, well, not really sitting. She's running around with her dog, which is very fun to watch on Instagram. And I've heard reports Sasha's ready to return, so we'll see what happens after SummerSlam. But I don't think Ronda's getting involved. And to me, that screams, if she's not getting involved, Becky's retaining. Becky was going to retain from the beginning for me, and I'm more than happy to see that. Because she can have a long reign. She could be champion until next WrestleMania, and I am totally fine with that. Give her a year-long reign. Because who was the last really long women's championship reign? It wasn't Charlotte. She lost the last two within months. The most recent one she lost in 15 seconds. The one that comes to mind is Nikki Bella. And I'm pretty sure WWE wants to break that record. Or at least certain people in WWE would like to see that record broken. So there's that. And I think Becky would be the person to do it. I'd be more than happy to see that. So I'm going with Becky here, and it's not even close. Because you listen to SmackDown when it was Natalya versus Ember Moon in that no-point match. Natalya got zero reaction. Everyone was like, oh, look, it's Natalya. Cool. Meanwhile, when Ember Moon came out, she got a reaction. So Natalya's just she is what Becky. No, she is what Bayley could be in a couple years. A good pair of hands who gets a couple title opportunities here and there. Maybe she wins one or two because she beat Naomi last year, year before. I think it was 2017 when she beat Naomi. It was the year. I want to say it was the year Jinder Mahal was champ. So that was 2 years ago. Yeah, because it was when Nakamura couldn't buy a title win for his life. So, I'm taking Becky here. Simply because there's no reason to not take Becky. If they want to build Becky back up to the popularity she was before the whole angle with Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, having her drop the title at SummerSlam is not the way to do it. I see Becky retaining and having a very, very long reign. And now let's go to the two matches where I couldn't tell you for the life of me. I'm going to start with Kofi versus Randy Orton. There's no real main event level heel on SmackDown right now, outside of Randy Orton. I don't see who Kofi could lose the title to outside of Randy Orton. But it makes so much more sense for Kofi to beat Orton to get revenge for 9-10 years ago. And God, it's like trying to figure out who could be the person to take the title off of Kofi Kingston. Is like playing a game of take your pick, essentially. And it's like there's all logical choices, but none of them are main event level guys right now. Even if they were, Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens are good guys. Daniel Bryan lost the title to Kofi, so it'd be weird for him to win it back a few months later. Just for him to be a transitional champion and get it probably on Roman. Lesnar already cashed in, so it can't be Lesnar. If he beats Orton, then Orton's out. Owens is the face. Now Dolph Ziggler is probably going to be on Raw now, I would think. If he shows up on SmackDown after a couple weeks after SummerSlam, consistently, maybe he's a SmackDown guy now. But Dolph's not going to take the title from him. I'm going to pull up the SmackDown roster really quick because I can't even think of half the people on there. Nakamura's busy as the champion. As the Intercontinental Champion. R-Truth's busy as the stupid 24/7 champion when he could be doing a little more. Let's see here. Aleister Black's a face. Andrade's Ali's a face. Andrade is not at that level just yet. He's like right there. Apollo Crews now. Big E's a tag team. Big E is part of the New Day. I don't even know what Big Show's listed. Not Bo Dallas, not Buddy Murphy. I mean, Matt Hardy will be interesting to see, possibly because he's not doing anything right now. Stuff. There's really nobody to take it off him, so I'm not going to be surprised if this is a big if Randy Orton wins. But I don't think it's time for Kofi's reign to end just yet. Maybe we get a match or two more after this between those two. It's a whole weird game where it's like, who could it be? It makes sense to be this guy, but it shouldn't be this guy just yet. But somebody has to do it, but it shouldn't be right now. It's a whole weird game like that. I have Kofi retaining because I don't think the reign ends right here. I think we get maybe a month or two more. Maybe 2 Survivor Series and Kofi pushes Brock, and then at whatever the last pay-per-view of the year is going to be, I want to say it's TLC, but it's not going to be TLC. What's the freaking pay-per-view schedule for WWE anymore, even? WWE pay-per... There we go. 2010's upcoming schedule. 2019. Oh, it is TLC. Oh, they changed it back because TLC was like middle of the year last year. That's cool. Good for them. So, if it is TLC, maybe he loses it at TLC to somebody who they build up at that point. Maybe it is Andrade at that point. But then Andrade would probably just be there to get the title on Roman. So, that's my fear. It's just somebody's going to lose it to beat Kofi just to get the title on Roman. So we'll see. I'm taking Kofi as of right now because I don't think it would be right. They've built up this whole thing after the whole 9-year, 10-year, whatever, however many years it's been between Orton and Kingston to make Orton look like a super bad guy, and Kofi should get his revenge, and it should be on this show. It should be at SummerSlam. So we'll wait and see there, and I'm more curious as to what would happen afterwards. And then we get to what's probably going to be the main event. I don't want it to be the main event. I want the main event to be Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. It's probably going to be Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. And when I say I don't know, I genuinely mean I don't know. There's 2 ways they can go with this. They can have Lesnar be the champion for a long time again and show up part-time and not do anything. And or they can have Seth Rollins win again and figure out what the hell to do with Brock Lesnar afterwards. Now, my thing is, I put this on the article for All Things Combat, which should be up possibly on Friday, possibly on Saturday. We'll see. With Seth Rollins, at the start of this feud, and going into WrestleMania, I was like, I want Seth Rollins to win just so we can get the title on the show regularly. And he did, and I was happy. I didn't hate his feud with Baron Corbin. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. So I look at it, this would be, him beating Brock Lesnar isn't out of the realm of possibility. But my thing is, I think you look at it, it makes more sense for Rollins to win, but with how much stupid stuff he said in the media, it makes me want Lesnar to win. And that's not what this feud should be doing. It's a whole weird thing where I'm like, I'm not enjoying what he's saying in the media. He's saying a lot of dumb stuff. So it's like, now I want you to lose, Seth. But I want the title back full time, so stop being a dick. So it's a real thin line, and I'm like, I want Rollins to win just so we can get the title back on full TV full time. But then it's the same issue that SmackDown has. Who's really a legitimate challenger to Rollins? AJ Styles is, but he's busy with the US title. And like the Raw roster is even harder because so few people get TV time. I mean, Rollins Cesaro will be good. That's legitimately the only other one I can think of. So right now you have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do going forward with this title? How are we going to make this work? I'm going with Rollins, and I'm hoping they have some sort of plan in place. I'm pretty sure they do. It could be the Undisputed Era. I've heard rumblings that they could get called up after Takeover, which would mean they would lose all their matches, which I had them losing 2 out of 3 anyway, so I wouldn't be mad getting one wrong. But I think at this moment, Rollins wins and they figure something out on Monday Night Raw. So I'm taking Rollins with no guarantee at all. So to recap my predictions, I'm pulling up the card so I can go in order from what I said. SummerSlam. I have Drew Gulak retaining the Cruiserweight Championship. I have Charlotte Flair, Goldberg. I'm trying to remember the order I said these in. I have Bray Wyatt, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Kofi Kingston, and Seth Rollins. If the matches get added, like Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy, I'm taking Roman Reigns. If the Intercontinental Championship match gets added, I'm taking Nakamura over Ali. If we get a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, if we get a Raw Tag Team Championship match, if we get a Women's Tag Team Championship match, I'm taking the champions to retain in all of those. So New Day would retain, the OC would retain, and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross would retain. If we get Cedric versus Drew, I forgot to mention that one. I'm taking Drew McIntyre because I think it's time they start to build him up as a big-time heel. I remember reading in Hell in a Cell, a rumored match was Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. So maybe we do see Seth Rollins win, and maybe his first challenger is McIntyre, and they start to build McIntyre back up as a big heel. We'll have to wait and see, but those are my predictions right now. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is always fun to do, just to sit down and kind of clear my mind on the world of professional wrestling. Next week, we have the finals of the G1 are on the 12th, and today's the 8th. So, that's on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The finals are on Monday. So, I'll review those when we get to it. We'll have a recap of SummerSlam and TakeOver next week. And see what the card could be going into Hell in a Cell. And War Games even, because I like to think 4 months ahead of time. Why not? Like I said, thank you guys for listening. Like I said at the very beginning, you can follow me on Twitter at ShiroSolid, or you can follow this podcast at Podcast Armchair. And you can follow All Things Combat, which is the website I write for at Things Combat, where we cover professional wrestling, boxing, and MMA. And also, like I've said a couple of weeks in a row now, I am the sports editor over at The Cauldron at Cleveland State. And you can follow us on Twitter at CSU Cauldron to see all the going-ons of Cleveland State life over the fall and spring semesters this year. Like I always say, guys, thank you for your time for listening to this. I know this one's longer than last week. There's actually stuff to talk about now, at least. So, there's that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like I said, next week we have the recap, and we have where could we be going next? And the G1 finished. So, let's figure out who the hell is going to challenge Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. I'll see you guys next week for that. And, like always, I keep forgetting to always say this. If you enjoy what you hear, please hit subscribe. I don't like have anything that's monetized or anything. I don't know how to do that if I wanted to. So I just do this for fun. So just subscribe if you feel like it. Like always, thank you guys for listening, and see you next week.